My best troops will greet them with a storm of death, he said. Only now do we realise Sturm does not make idle threats. Welcome back to Storm of Death, Final Front. And last time, the Death Ray fired. This time, we're going to find out the Death Ray is the least of our worries. Yay! Joy all around. So, from not deploying anything last turn, Grid has a whole bunch of leftover funds, so I can make a couple of really expensive units. However, as you can see on that screen, Sturm's power meter is very nearly filled. And, well, I take it you know by now that this is a very bad thing! Yeah, that power still makes me nervous even to this day. Ugh. Yeah, this guy, if Adder and Hawk did not make you terrified of the Black Hole Super theme before, this guy will. In fact, this guy will make you terrified of his regular theme music. Ugh, so horrifying. Anyway, now last time we chased off that bomber, which was harassing Kanbei's troops, so that's going to be quite useful. But thing is, I have a feeling this anti-air unit is pretty much doomed, because I don't think he can get away from that medium tank in time. So, the best I can do is to just move my artillery up here to form a trap for the medium tank if it does decide to kill off my anti-air. And yeah, making a few cheaper units with Kanbei. But yeah, even his cheaper units are pretty massively powerful, and I have no idea what I'm doing with this copter. I guess at one point I thought maybe I might be able to get one of the bases on the central island, but really, don't do that, it's not worth it. Meanwhile, with the Death Ray Assassination Squad, you know, I guess it must be, for some reason, something in my mind keeps instinctively trying to say Deathwing, but, even though I don't actually play very much of that, but it's weird. Anyway, yes, this copter is definitely going to have to run away, because it's not just those missiles that are a threat. That Neo, what is it with me mixing those up lately? That Neo tank will almost certainly finish me off, so want to damage this one severely. Might want to leave it just barely alive though, because again, Max is the one who needs to take care of the power score, and because of that, yeah, we might be needing to leave a couple of units alive, and I'm definitely going to have to put you there just to stop the Neo tank from going any further. Yep, there's out of range of missiles, that's good. Now, should I go with the medium tank? Sturm's power meter is very close to filled, and if Max has an expensive unit that he's relying on to get to the Death Ray, or at least clear a path to the Death Ray, and it gets meteored, it's pretty much curtains for this whole operation. Yeah. I've lost count of the number of times I've had to restart this one, but I know several times during my childhood I had a moment where I had a bomber just in range of the Death Ray, and then meteor. Yeah, you don't want to have that happen. So, I'm having and just because I'm overly worried about that, I'm actually deploying a cheaper tank up there with Max, just because I really don't want to take the risk of a meteor hitting a medium tank that I just brought out. And Sturm's artillery down there has very, very cleverly positioned itself so that I can't deploy anything out of one of my bases without it getting shot, which is extremely irritating, that. Oh, he's got a copter. Might need to start bringing out some anti-airs. Yeah, okay, he's retreating that, and he's got a fighter incoming now, and his bomber's going back to repair, and this tank is dead. Whoops. Yeah, I might need to be using these missile silos eventually, because that Neo tank is really dangerous, and oh, oops, bye-bye missiles, sorry. Yep, that thing's pretty much gone. And 3 HP anti-air is not really that much, but okay, good, that didn't actually get me. If that copter had actually struck me first, that would have been very bad, but it is not doing that. Tank moves forward. Oh, only one of my artillery is in range of that now. But hopefully I can hit it once and then hit it with the regular tank, and at least my anti-air got out of that one unscathed. I was really certain that thing was going to die, so nice use of luring there. Sturm's rockets, they can move so far on just basic planes without needing roads. Wish Grit's rockets were like that. Anyway, you go... yeah, speaking of which, Grits Rockets! It's this situation where having Sturm's abilities would be really, really useful because, oh, you got forest across, you got plains, and yeah, you know how tire units go. They hate everything that doesn't happen to be, actually, that thing can go back and shoot the 3 HP thing behind me. But, yeah. Yeah, anything on tires gets slowed to the point of near uselessness on anything that isn't a road or a city, so yeah, always annoying working with those things. And, like, I might have thought to just keep a few things alive just in case somehow one of Max's helicopters got over there and I could take out a few more things for the power score. That's part of the reason why I'm still leaving that artillery back in my base, and actually, yes, I did leave those things alive. I was very, very rightly paranoid about the power score here because, I think my most recent run, before I did this run, well, since you're watching this, you'll know this is the successful run, but, the run I did before this, I believe, and 40% to one of Sturm's medium tanks is pretty insane. Anyway, the run I did before this, I believe what happened was I got, yep, I knew it, I got perfect in, definitely want to shoot this one first, because that's the bigger threat. I got perfect, I believe, or almost perfect in speed. I think I may have lost a few points there. Probably perfect in technique, but my power was a little lacking. Either that or I got like 100 in speed and technique, but like 70-something in power, and that just wasn't quite enough. Again, I'm pretty sure the bare minimum for an S rank is 285 out of 300, or 280. I think it's, no, it's definitely 280 out of 300. That's the bare minimum for an S rank, so, oh, yeah, no, I'm almost positive 280 is, because, confession to make here, I have got A ranks with I've got A ranks with 279 before. Yes, really, it's as painful as it sounds. But yeah, let's take that. Oh, didn't do as much as I would have hoped, but anyway. And more units. For some reason, that just makes me think of Mr. Bear loves units from that one. I only recently just watched the American version of that chapter. Yeah. The European version of that one is actually mostly the same, apart from the Mr. Bear stuff and, of course, the legendary, to Americans, us Europeans don't have them, legendary, generic intelligent defense systems agent that I always get annoyed whenever they get brought up, because, again, they do not exist outside of America. But, anyway, oh, okay, yeah, bring that thing around there. And I just realized I might have a bit of a bad situation. Please tell me that is not the case. Yes, it is. If I shoot that copter with my copter, I get missiles. Ah, that is bad. Oh, very bad. And I got a Neo tank there. You know what? Now would be a very good time to use a missile silo, and I wonder if I actually did do that this time. Again, gotta be careful with what we deploy this turn, because we know that Sturm is going to be meteor striking very soon. And when he does that, all of his units are going to go up to, like, what was it, like 50% offense, 40% defense, or the other way around, something completely ridiculous. But, yeah. So, that's going to be a, well, yeah. Oh, it's a sacrifice to not, well, you see, Max can't really afford sacrifices, that's the thing, because he's the one whose technique score actually matters. So, always a dilemma playing this. Now, I will say, I believe it was all thanks to a walkthrough on Wars World Wiki. I didn't actually look at the, in fact, I learned this from a walkthrough of a mission I'd already completed, thankfully. So again, I vowed myself I would not use any guides whatsoever, any just turn-by-turn stuff. Again, the only times I've looked up a guide so far were, I needed to look up the power requirement for Drake's Dilemma, because that mission was seriously eluding me until I actually looked that up. Yeah, that mission, and even most guides say, that mission is pretty easy, but the power score is really, really hard for some reason. But anyway, and the other thing was, I did take a guide suggestion to use Sonya in Great Sea Battle, just to give her a little more screen time. And the other thing is, yes, I believe it was a guide for Hot Pursuit, which at the time I recorded this I'd already completed. definitely using the missile silo here, that was actually what told me that only one character's power and technique scores actually counted here. If I did not know this, there was literally no way I would ever S-rank this out of sheer coincidence or sheer fluke, so... I'm gonna have... One of my copters is gonna die, isn't it? But oh well. Better to weaken that Neo tank, because it's gonna do some serious carnage if not. And yeah, you might notice that things look a little weird on Max's front. I'm deliberately not killing things, because... One, I guess Sturm's units will end up stepping on each other's own toes, and two, I want to save a few for the power score. You really need to do this here, damn it. Yep, sometimes if Kanbei's units go a little too far, they get hit by cannons. And hey, here it is! First meteor strike of the battle. Believe me, there will be more. See? Told you the death ray was the least of your worries. And thankfully that one landed right on grid. Now, for this mission, and I'm so glad things worked out this way, because this wasn't entirely my plan, but it worked pretty well. Actually, no, I learned that from one of my earlier runs. When grid has a tendency to spam artillery, for some reason, Sturm's meteors always seem to go for them. Usually if there are missiles and rockets in the mix, Sturm's meteors tend to hit them. Again, Meteor Strike always goes for the most expensive cluster of units it can find, so you can lure it quite well. Now, this may work against you if there was some way, I'm not actually saying anything at this point, if there was some way you could play as Sturm, his Meteor Strike is still completely AI controlled. It will always just target the most expensive clump of units automatically. You can't actually aim it. So that is a bit of a disadvantage if somehow Sturm was in the hands of a human player. Oh, I wonder if that could be possible. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, just thought I'd go ahead and mention that. And oh, crap! Wow, they survived that? Really? Okay, those guys are officially heroes. Okay, now, things might look... Oh, of course. The ultimate insult. Getting finished off by infantry. Brilliant! Don't just love when that happens. Anyway, things are a little bad on Max's side at the moment, just because I haven't killed things. They will get better soon, and oh boy, is that a fighter around here when I don't have when my missiles have been meteored? Yeah. So basically, I've learned that with his huge clusters of units, Sturm tends to go for Grit with his meteor strikes in this mission, and as a result, Grit's role here is basically going to be the guy who has a giant sticker on him saying, "Meteor me." I would love to see someone make fan art of that, but anyway, yeah. Grit basically has a giant sticker on him that says, "Meteor me." Because, yeah, he's the one who's going to be the meteor magnet this time, and it's a very good thing that he is, because, yeah, you don't want Max getting hit by any meteors. Seriously, you don't want that to happen, because if that happens, then I can't stress this enough. Again, I need to mention that story where I have a bomber all the way right at the death ray, and then I get meteored at the last moment, one more time. Don't think even Colin's bombers are safe from meteors. Those things get meteored just as easily as everything else, despite the fact that they're a little cheaper than normal bombers. They're still bloody expensive. So, you will pay for hurting my fellow artillery brethren. And I probably want to... Oh, there's a second medium tank. Yep, Kanbei is going to have a bit of a, well, a bit of a struggle here. Oh, they can't quite do it. Oh yeah, well naturally Sturm has a, if I go there I'll get artilleried and cannon, so I'm not going to do that. And I literally have 0 funds left over. And Kanbei's missile silo is still there, so maybe I could save that for a little later. Now, the fact that Sturm actually has his power used means now is definitely not a good time to go for the power score. We've got to wait until his Uber mode wears off, and... Trust me, things may look very... Wow! Wow! 8% to a recon. I don't even think a full HP copter with Max's abilities can actually take that thing out. Seriously. Anyway, like I was saying, things may look very, very bad on Max's side at this point. Trust me. Wow! Yeah, wow! Again, like I'm saying, trust me, things will get better, and that tank is going to die, that Neo, if I don't leave it, if I leave it. Things will get better, trust me, they will, but for the time being, wow. I've said wow a lot, but seriously, infantry surviving full health, max boosted anti-air. Really? Only possible with Sturm. Yep, it's official. Sturm is the most broken guy in existence. Oh, so horribly broken. Oh, that's just going to get repaired anyway next turn. Yeah. At least when his super wears off, that recon should die quickly. But, yeah, now next turn, I may have enough for Max's super, and if that's the case, I might start going for the power score, what I meant is, and I should probably start damaging you, just to weaken you a little bit in preparation for that. Oh, if only my artillery were that survivable. Now, yeah, there are a few other ways you could do this mission. You could just go for bombers early with Max and try and smash that pipe that's right below Sturm's airport, and try and actually go for that. Now, some people may want to capture that. Now, I've found in most of my attempts it generally doesn't work, but if it does work, it will pay off, but usually it doesn't. And also, you don't want to force Sturm's AI to start concentrating most of their... Holy crap! Yeah. That was a 5 HP Neo and it already... Wow. I've been saying that a lot, but seriously. Oh. Wow is right. This guy does tend to wow you with ridiculous feats of cheapness! Yeah. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Sturm is pretty much the equivalent of a deliberately broken fighting game final boss in a turn-based strategy. He pretty much is. At least that... and yeah, of course, back in the first game, Sturm wasn't even this broken. I mean, in the first game, he was... I may have already mentioned this, and it's been a while since I recorded the commentary for Hot Pursuit, so I may have already mentioned this. But, so if I already have, please correct me on this, but Sturm in Advance Wars 1 was actually quite different. In Advance Wars 1, all of his units had 20% higher... Well, that's not going to make much of a dent. And really all that's going to do is serve as super fodder for Sturm, considering that thing is really... Unless it gets Max's copter, but... Anyway, back to what I was saying. Sturm had... Meteor Strike was pretty much exactly the same as it is in this one. In fact, since in the first game, every commander only had 1 power, Sturm is one of the few people who pretty much almost literally hasn't changed at all in terms of his powers, because, yeah, he's still got the same power. He's still only got 1 power, unlike everyone else who gained 2 of them. Now, I believe Eagle was the only character from Advance Wars 1 whose original power became their super. Everyone else had their original just 1 power become their normal power and had a new super added. But with Eagle, Lightning Strike was so insane that they decided to go ahead and say, you know what, let's just make that his super. Don't worry, Lightning Strike took a ridiculous amount of time to charge in the first game. It was, in fact, the longest charging power. I've gone off on a bit of a tangent, but there isn't as much for me to say here, and I want to get this out of the way before I finish this game up. Is that, interestingly enough, I might have already mentioned this. Wait a minute, was that a... How much damage percent was that? That was huge, but anyway. In the first game, the one with the fastest charging power meter, because Ada wasn't there, funnily enough, the one with the fastest charging power meter was in fact Sammy. And in fact, Hachi's shop would actually go on and tell you, and would specifically point out how she is the one whose power meter fills up the quickest. And it's interesting because in this game, her normal power is still fairly cheap, but her super is one of the longest charging in the game. So she went from one of the quickest charging power characters to one of the slowest. So that was, yeah, really interesting. Well, considering how ridiculously broken her super is, oh boy, it doesn't really do much in campaign mode. In fact, I don't think we've actually seen Victory March ever used in campaign mode. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, well, when it is used, It's not as good in campaign. In War Room, Victory March is almost exactly what it says on the tin. Pretty much a guaranteed I win button. Not as much as Eagle and Sammy's Tag Power and Dual Strike, but that's a whole nother game entirely. Now, like I was saying, off that ridiculous tangent, Sturm in the first game, his regular abilities were quite different to here. He had 20% extra offense on everything, but 10% less defense. So he was kind of like an early Grim in a way. But the weird thing was, you could unlock him for versus mode and multiplayer, and for some reason the playable Sturm was the exact inverse of the campaign mode Sturm. The playable Sturm had 20% extra defense on all units, but 20% less offense. So, yeah, he was kind of a defense specialist. Meteor Strike now, I'm not entirely sure if this is true. I think I remember reading somewhere that in the first game, playable Sturm's Meteor Strike only did 3 damage rather than 8. But correct me if I'm wrong on that. You know, I may want to save my power for later. Yeah, and you might notice I didn't even attack with my medium tank there. Simply because I really, really want to make sure that I kill as many things as possible. Next turn, Max's next turn, is going to be the big one. That's going to be the turn where Max kills stuff. So, yeah, look forward to that. Now, it's kind of interesting because usually I like to use bombers here, but speaking of bombers, Sturm has another one. That's going to be a problem. Fortunately, Grit will probably have enough for some missiles before it gets here, but anyway, we don't want to let that rocket get away and repair itself. We also don't want to let this rocket start shooting us too much, because, as you can see there, it hurts. Yeah. Okay, you're probably going to die. If you survive, I'll be very... Yep, dead. Oh, damn it. Hopefully Max is still able to secure the technique score, and that thing is... What's it even doing? It's running low on fuel, it only has 1 HP, it's all like, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. And this could be bad. Yep, very bad. Bye-bye, artillery. Ugh. Don't discount even the weakest of Sturm's units. They're still ridiculously powerful. Alright, that's going to be bad. So, yeah, things are looking kind of bad on Grit's end. I might need to fix things for him in a moment, but... Yes! Yes, 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 yes! Hey, I was saying earlier, why can't my artillery be that survivable? I love it when that happens. What's that transport copter doing? It's weird, it's an empty transport. I have no idea what it plans to do, but... Hey, it's just a transport. What harm could it possibly do, right? Anyway, let's see. Max's... Oh dear lord. I was about to say Max is maxed, and that was totally unintentional, by the way. Given that his powers are already kind of bad puns on that, it does make sense, but still it is just painful. Anyway, right then, Grid almost has his super, and like I said in my quote-unquote mission briefing, as I like to call it, Grid's super is actually not that helpful in this mission. Because you'd think maybe you'd be able to snipe those cannons from far away. You can't, really. At least not without getting in their range. Speaking of which, you might think that you could destroy those cannons to just help you capture bases on the central island. I've generally found it's not that useful. Now, I've heard of people who, again, use Max to... Max seems to be a very popular choice for destroying the death ray in this mission, and I can't really fault them for that. Heck, even the Lost dialogue for this mission actually does recommend using him. To give the exact quote, he says, "If you need power, I'm your man. I'll smash that pipe like butter." He'll actually smash anything like butter, but smash? If it was sliced through that pipe like butter, I'd probably slice through. I forgot. I forgot, yeah. But... Anyway, long story short, it does recommend using Max, and I kind of see that. I have seen some people use Max in the center and actually go for it that way. And if that's the case, maybe you might want to destroy those death rays plural. Wow, there's a sadistic ROM hack in the making. Oh, and Sturm's power meter is already going up ludicrously. Oh. Yeah. Now, problem here is... Max is probably only going to be able to kill 5 things, considering that I have 4 units that can move, and up there, and 1 below that will definitely take out that artillery. But, yeah. Now, the question is 5 things enough for the power score? Actually, it depends if I can kill 5. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. I probably will be able to kill those 4. Almost. Well, yeah, almost certainly. See, at this point, I was starting to think about how to go about Max's power score. So, yeah, Kanbei's turn here is pretty much inconsequential. At this point, I was already figuring out. Because basically, you want to pick your moment. Pick your moment to go all out for that power score. If you're playing as Eagle on that side and you have Lightning Strike, you're pretty much guaranteed the power score, but if you're using Max, you only get 1 move on each of your units, so everything can only kill 1 unit each, and that may not be enough to secure you the power score, so you need to make sure that you go for it. Now, see, here's the thing, if I move Kanbei's medium tank up to fight some of those things, it's going to get cannoned, and no one likes that. I just thought of a really, really bad Fire Emblem Awakening related joke. No one likes cannons. That's why Sumiya gets hated so much in Fire Emblem Awakening. That was terrible. And all the hate she receives is terrible, but that's a story for another day when I actually cover that game. But anyway. Hey, suicidal infantry! You're gonna get shot by cannons. And medium tanks. I did not realize that there was a second medium tank back there. I'm still a little scared of Sturm. I swear, the AI charges their power meter so ridiculously fast, it's just insane. Yeah, I guess that's just what happens when they throw so many units at you. Because, yeah, I've played as Hawk in War Room, and Hawk in War Room is actually a lot more... I know this might seem like a weird tangent. Hawk in War Room is actually a lot more balanced than you'd probably think. Despite the fact that he does have 10% extra offense on everything, his slow charging power meter is actually a really big drawback in multiplayer in War Room, and you really do start to feel it, and he certainly is kind of balanced there. Anyway, here we go. It's time to max blast our way through everything and get our hands on that power score. Hopefully. Well, now, I know that okay, here's the question. Can I kill that? Nope. Not doing that. Okay, definitely killing that. Now, after this, there is quite the possibility that, can I finish you? You gotta figure this like a puzzle. I've got a total... Well, that's... Overkill much? Seriously? Wow. And I've said wow again. I should really stop doing that. Anyway. Bang, 1 kill. Okay, let's see. Please tell me this can one-shot. Yes, 2 kills. I would have liked to have got the rockets and that other infantry though, but that would have almost certainly got me the power score. 2 kills. Okay, you got to plan this out right. Okay, I definitely can get an extra few kills here. Could take that thing out. Just, these 2 units can definitely kill 1 thing each, so I've almost certainly got 4, and I've almost certainly got 5 as well. Because, yeah, this thing definitely goes. So, yeah, what I tell you, leaving this in my base definitely did pay off. That's 3 kills. Definitely need more than 3. You want to go for at least 5, and even then, 5 will probably not be enough. If I move here, I can block off some troops from streaming out here, so I'll do that. That is 4, and 1 more off of my extremely low HP anti-air. Well, not as extremely low HP as his. And I don't do that, that's stupid. Almost certainly want to go for the 1 HP infantry just to be absolutely sure I get the 5th kill, 5. Because if I had gone for that Neo tank, there's a chance that it might have survived, and that would not have ended well with me. So, that is, and I'm only a very tiny amount off of getting a Neo tank. I'm probably going to go for more Neo tanks with Max than bombers. Now, the annoying thing is, Neo tanks cannot one-shot the death ray, so once I get there, I will need 2 turns to actually take it out, but hopefully, those are 2 turns that I will be able to have. And that bomber has finally fixed itself, but as you can see, it took, wow, a very, very long time. Haha, you're not going to do anything. Well, you did 1 HP. That battlecopter I am a little worried about. Bye, tank! At least Kanbei doesn't have to worry about the technique score. Again, you will be... You need to be prepared for heavy losses in this mission on everyone who isn't your dedicated death ray expert, because heavy losses, yep, storm of death, that's the word of the day here. And the bomber is coming back, so we better get ready to take it out, and there's another bomber there too. Oh boy, yeah, now Sturm's recons do have a tendency to run rampant in your deployment zones if they're left unchecked, so... Yeah, fortunately we're not really going to be deploying much from... Ow! Much from Max's main deployment zone, considering we've got that base over there, and that... What's that fighter doing? It's going to run out of fuel at this rate. That copter is going over there, and I'm a little... I mean... Not a little, I'm extremely scared of that bomber, but I do have some missiles in range. Don't want to blow the super yet, or should I blow the super? Because that copter could cause problems for me if it's left unchecked. Do I use the super now? Like, as I've said before, grid super is actually not that important here. Sorry about that. Anyway. In fact, Kanbei is a super too. We could go for a mega string of supers here, and Max will be the only one left out because he used his last turn. But here we go, Super Snipe! And again, it's not really going to do that much, but I do want to manage to take, I want to take that thing out, definitely. Goodbye, helicopter. This thing would be a really big threat if I didn't take it out, because it could go for Max if I don't take it out now as well, which would be very bad. So, need to take this thing out. And again, I'm only giving Sturm fodder for his super. I'm probably going to get meteored again this turn, and that's going to be bad. Again, you will have to prepare yourself for multiple meteor strikes. And wow, I love how far Gwit's rockets can go under the effect of his super. Thank you, and goodbye. Those things were really playing havoc on me. I'm glad they're gone. And, oh, just out of range. This thing isn't, but it's only got 3 HP. Of course, my heavily weakened stuff is the ones that aren't out of range. What's the day? 18 days left. Okay, so we're we've passed the 10th day. We're day 13. Okay, so the next day after this is Death Ray Day. Believe me, I really don't think that Sturm fights admirably. He's the most broken enemy-only character ever created. Well, one of the most broken enemy-only characters ever created. Wow, that's a massive power boost. But anyway, I'm trying to think if there's someone, like I know there's almost certainly several fighting game bosses who are pretty broken. I mean, there's the fact that almost every boss in RPGs who used to be a member of your party suddenly multiplies their HP by like 10 when you fight them as a boss. Yeah, that's always annoying. Or worse, when you've got a boss who joins you later on as a playable character, they will divide their HP by 10. It's particularly ridiculous in Mystery Dungeon when some of the legendary Pokemon have like amounts of HP that are just... Even by legendary standards, you would not see, like, on a Pokemon, ever. Considering the most HP you ever see on a Pokemon is a little over 700, yeah, they've got HP in the thousands. But, hey, this is not Mystery Dungeon. I have no idea. I never expected to talk about Mystery Dungeon here, but yeah. Apologies if this chapter is, mission, whatever, is a bit long. It is very long, but it is the final mission, and it really does live up to that, so... I could go for some sweet, sweet overkill, but maybe not. Actually, I'm trying to check to see whether I can actually get into that spot if I kill that Neo tank. I might be able to, come to think of it, but the thing is, really don't want to bunch up those 2 medium tanks, because if I'm not careful, those 2 medium tanks could be a very big meteor magnet if I don't handle them just right. But Grid does have a couple of rockets and missiles down there, so hopefully Grid is the one who gets meteored. Now, let's see if I can... I'm not going to take this out, aren't I? Nope! Bad, 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 bad. Yep, I should have seen that coming. I totally should have seen that coming, but yeah. Normally, if I was, say, maybe abusing save states, I would probably save state before doing that, and then reset if it didn't kill, but I'm not doing that, so yeah. You can actually abuse saves in Advance Wars pretty regularly, like, I'm pretty sure you can save mid-mission as much as you want. It's not like Fire Emblem's suspend feature where you actually have to quit after suspending, and the suspend gets deleted when you come back. It's not like that. It is, you can, it's like battle saves, basically. But, I'm not doing that either. I tend to do... Okay, I will say that every single mission that I've done in this entire playthrough, every one of them has been recorded in one continuous go, not saving or taking a break mid-mission. So, I wanted to do that for all of them, and yeah, as a result, Great Sea Battle went on really long, because that thing took like an hour and a half, and this one also took like an hour and a half, but in this one, I fully expected it to take that long. Well, actually, I expected Great Sea Battle to take that long as well, but seriously. Yeah, Showstopper, I did not expect to take as long as it did. Showstopper, stop reminding me of Showstopper. I hate Showstopper so much. And look at all those, that big wiggling line of stars of death. Yep, Meteor number 2. 2 meteor strikes in one video. Yep, more than your recommended daily intake of meteors. Well, I mean, I'd say getting hit by one meteor is more than your recommended daily intake of meteors, but yeah, and that's not even going into what happens in Days of Ruin. Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, I just realized that there are some people who think what happened to destroy the world in Days of Ruin is what would happen if Sturm somehow managed to tag power with himself, Dual Strike style. That's just actually kind of funny. But anyway, so all these things are moving. Oh boy. You know you're ridiculously broken when mechs can take on tanks with full confidence and do that. And so that thing's gonna move, and then that thing's gonna... Wait a sec! Did that thing just seriously move where I think it did? Did that thing seriously move to the one spot where it would cause the most annoyance to me? Really, AI? Really? You probably don't want to see me attempt to recreate how angry I was during the actual recording when that happened, and my sheer disbelief at, well, that transport copter completely blocking the way. And you'll see later on that this wasn't just a random move or anything. The AI deliberately stuffed a T-copter in there just to stop me from getting through. Like, I do admit it's actually kind of a surprisingly smart move by their... Oh, and it's also Death Ray Day today, which is a bit of a weird thing since most of my units here are already heavily damaged from the meteor, so the Death Ray is kind of pointless. Interesting. Anyway, from now on, I will officially call that thing Blocker Copter. Yes. Yes, from now on, it is officially known as the Blocker Copter. And yes, the Blocker Copter is trolling you with its move right into the way of your forces, and I sit here and laugh trollolololol. Yeah. Yeah, right, that's enough of that. Anyway. Is this the same bomber that was harassing me before? Because it's gonna have... Because I'm gonna send that running right back to the airport again. And, oh, should I take that? Should I take that? Should I take that? It's still just in cannon range, but I could take that, because those rockets will cause serious problems to me otherwise. However, I might only do just enough damage for Sturm to just repair it all next turn, so... Infantry only taking that much from Kunbei's tanks of all things. Only Sturm, people! Only Sturm can pull that off. So broken. Anyway, Yeah, again though, you don't really need to worry about doing as much damage as you want after he's used his power, because he's not going to be getting any more until his turn comes around again, so his power meter is basically locked off for the turn, so you can just do as much damage as you want here. You know what, I'm actually going to take this shot. Oh, I hoped it would do more than that. Yeah, that is going to get fully repaired next turn. Damn it. But anyway, Kanbei could actually make a little bit of headway here. He probably could, if I play things right. Now, there is a second bomber there, and that could be very bad. And because of that, I've got some missiles ready to missile it out of the sky if it tries to come near my missiles. And back to Max, who thankfully was spared the wrath of the meteors. Of course, he unfortunately now has to deal with an even worse problem. The wrath of the blocker copter! I seriously wish I had a full HP anti-air to just brutally massacre this thing with, but as it stands, this is the best we've got. Yes, die! Die, blocker copter, die! I wish I could overkill that thing so much. Oh, if I had a fighter, I would just smash that thing, but I sadly don't. Now, I may have to... here's the thing. Can I outrun that anti-air that's coming back? And how much of my... Because, again, Max really needs to worry about sacrificing too many things. With that recon just sitting on Max's headquarters, you're not an infantry, you know, as much as you'd like to think you are. And finally, we have Neos. Now, Neos are pretty much going to be the name of the game from this point on with Max. Our plan is starting to approach its final stage. At this point, Sturm's assaults are still pretty fierce, but they're starting to kind of die down a little bit, and Max is starting to push ahead just a slight amount. Next time, the plan really kicks into high gear. Max is going to be sending his Neo tanks all the way into Sturm's main citadel to smash that damn death ray, which actually isn't really making much of an impact. But hey, it's in front of the missile that we need to destroy, so we kind of need to take it out. And yes, that thing was fully repaired. Damn it. But anyway, next time will, I promise you, be the last part of this one. It's still going to be kind of long, but not as long as these last two have been. And yes, we will finally stop... Oh, so many bombers. So many bombers. We will finally put an end to this mission, and you will see finally what rank I ended up getting. Oh boy. Do I have any missiles down there? Do I? Yeah, you also find out just how we deal with all these bombers. Because Grid can't afford to be destroyed here, because if he is, we lose this mission instantly, regardless of how well everyone else is doing. So, look forward to the thrilling conclusion. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. You're really making me wait, Sturm. Ah, well, you were a massive troll. Now, I'll see you next time.